Welcome back. Hour number 2 of Spooky Southcoast. Tim Weisberg here, along with Stephanie Burke, Matt Moniz, and Matt Costa. And we will be joined by Eric Altman in just a moment. I want to say thank you to everybody who has sent us music. We have decided to start going away from the licensed music because it was causing some issues with podcasting and with our YouTube videos. Folks who were trying to watch the YouTube videos via mobile devices were complaining that they were being blocked because we had licensed music in the broadcast. And even though we can play it on the airwaves here, the recorded versions that live on in perpetuity on the internet, they run into some trouble. So we decided to get away from all that and go with unlicensed music. And I want to thank everybody that's made donations. You can send us your tracks if you would like. SpookyCrew@SpookySouthcoast.com. Just do us a favor. Just put in the email, give us the name that you want us to use on the air to promote the music, whether it's your own name or whether you have a band or another name that you go by as a musician. Let us know the name. Let us know the name of the track so that we can let everybody know where they can find it. And also just put in the email that you give us permission to use the song. So that if we run into any trouble, we'll be completely covered. And that way there, it helps us. It gets us the music that we need to put on this program. And it also gives you the chance to get a little bit of exposure as well. So SpookyCrew@SpookySouthcoast.com. I want to say thank you to everybody out there who has sent music in already. We will get to it all as the weeks go on. 508-996-0500, 877-996-1420. Those are the numbers to call in at any time during the discussion if you have a question for us or for our guests. You can also email us, SpookyCrew@SpookySouthcoast.com, or find us on Twitter @SpookySC, or you can join us in the chat room, the new and improved chat room on Spooky TV @SpookySouthcoast.com. I want to say hi to everybody who is in there. And those who are in the chat room, if you're seeing that your name is coming up as guest and you have guest 3U, guest BACA, guest B515, these names just pop up automatically. If you click down on the little bit right on the right-hand side of the chat box, you'll see it at the very bottom right-hand corner. You can sign in. And you can sign in through a variety of ways, through your Google account, through your Facebook account, whatever you want to use. And I use the Facebook account, and then my little profile picture shows up so that people know who it is that's talking. So if you can do us a favor and just log in that way so we know who you are. If you want to say anonymous, that's cool too. But we do like to see which members of the Spooky Crew are in there each week hanging out with us. All right, well, now let us bring on our guest. He is the director of the Pennsylvania Bigfoot Society. He is the host of Beyond the Edge Radio, and you hear him on Darkness Radio and so many other programs. His specialty is cryptids, but he is a man who can talk all things paranormal. But we are bringing him on tonight to discuss this new stabilized, ultra-high definition Patterson-Gimlin film. It's been around forever, but now we can see it a little bit more clearly than ever before. Thank you for joining us, Eric Altman. How are you?
Hey, Tim. How you doing, buddy?
Well, I'm doing well, and we are spooktacular, as we say.
I'm glad to hear it.
And you guys have been having a great time with all the different guests you've been bringing on Beyond the Edge, and you've been making the rounds at some of these events. So it seems like you are becoming the go-to guy for a lot of this cryptid stuff. So naturally, I thought of you when I saw this footage. I said, I got to get Eric's take on this.
Well, thanks. Yeah, we've been kind of busy.
But that's how you like it, right?
Sometimes yes, sometimes no. It gets a little chaotic sometimes, but it keeps me out of trouble.
So this hit recently was a film analyst by the name of M.K. Davis, who has run the Patterson-Gimlin film through his ultra-high stabilization process. Now, we've seen this happen before with the JFK, with the Zapruder film. People have slowed that down. They've cleaned that up. They've run it through the high stabilization, and you can see a little bit more clearer shot this way. So it was probably only a matter of time before somebody got to this famous Bigfoot clip, probably the most famous Bigfoot clip. And I'll just ask you, Eric, what do you think when you saw the new footage?
Well, actually, this isn't the first time MK has actually stabilized the film. This is the second stabilization he's done on it.
Oh.
He did something about 5 or 6 years ago, probably back in 2009, 2008, where he took the film and he actually stabilized the film so you could see a lot better than the original footage that was released. It's not the same quality or definition that this version he put out is, but it was a lot better than what we had to work with from the 1967 grainy footage that was released and, of course, copied and put out there time and time again. So this isn't the first stabilization he's put out there, but this one that's been released in the last week is very, very clear, compared to what we've been used to seeing on TV and movies and what we've been used to viewing on the computer, and it's a lot more detailed and a lot more, as you know, stabilized than what we're used to seeing. So there's a lot more you can pick out of this than we've been accustomed to.
Well, Matt Costa is going to work on actually getting that video up on Spooky TV so people can see it as we're discussing it. But when I'm watching it, my first instinct when I watch it is I said, well, now this makes it more clearer to me that it's somebody walking in a suit, because I'm looking at the gait of the creature. I'm looking at the way that it's walking, and it looks to me like a man in a heavy suit trying to walk across the woods. But Moniz was pointing out that you can actually see some of the muscle movement a lot clearer than you could in the original version of the film. When you're looking at it, Eric, what catches your eye first?
Well, I have to agree with Matt. You can see a lot more detail in the definition of muscles moving. But again, back in 1967, in the original copy of the film that was released, Dr. Grover Krantz was one of the first ones to pick out that you could see muscle definition, and you could see muscles moving in the creatures that walked away. Because you have to remember, back in 1967, when they first had the original copy, it was very clear, and it wasn't copy after copy, brought down through generations, that we finally get to see on these documentaries and on television, that is so grainy and so broken down over time that you can't see that fine detail. So even looking at the stabilized film now, you're seeing what they saw back in 1967. And it doesn't surprise me that you can see that fine detail of muscle definition. That's what I see when I see this creature walking. But I do have to agree with you. The gait doesn't appear to be what a lot of people have said. It doesn't appear to be a gait that somebody can't reproduce. It does look like a human gait to me. It always has looked like a human gait to me.
But I mean, that doesn't discount the fact that it could be, an unknown creature. Just because it walks like a person doesn't mean that it is a person.
Correct. Yeah, it does look like it has a human gait. That doesn't mean that it is a human in a suit. It just means that whatever this individual is in this film, it does have a very similar human gait. It does walk like a human being would walk. Now, does that mean it's a human? No, it just means that it does have a human-like gait.
And it seems with this stabilized footage, where it's slightly less jumpy. There's still some jumpy cuts and things of that nature. But when you see it walking around the corner, when it's getting kind of that behind view, that's when it seems to look almost more to me like, if it was a hoax, whoever's in the suit thinks that at that point, whatever they were trying to do is over, and it just seems to walk a little bit differently, walking away from there. That could just be the way that my eyes are perceiving it, but it looks almost like it's kind of an upright human walk away.
Well, you're looking at something walking across you, then something walking parallel to you.
Yeah, it looks the same to me as you're playing it over and over again. It's still.
Oh, and I just kicked out the
knocked it
monitor. It's a very sensitive monitor.
I have to agree with the muscle movement. You can see even like the leg muscles moving as it walks. It would be pretty weird if you lifted up his feet and you saw sneakers, but and I agree with, we don't have anything to compare it to as far as walking like a human, but will look like any other type of creature or animal. But the way that you're saying, does it stand upright? It kind of looks like the same the whole way through.
I mean, what are your thoughts on it, Eric? Does this change your mind and what you thought originally?
Unfortunately, it doesn't. I've always been on the fence about the PG film, simply because A, I wasn't there to observe it myself. B, it really doesn't solve the mystery. And it never will. There's always going to be debate about if it is a man in a suit or if it's the real thing. Yes, it's a great, clearer, more defined look at the individual in the film, and I won't call it a creature because we don't really know if it is a creature or not. It's a more defined, better look at what's in the film, and it does appear that it has muscle movement in it, but could that be just the way that the costume is shifting as this individual walks? I don't really know. There's so many characters that have come out of the woodwork over the years, from Bob Hieronymus to Philip Morris, who claimed he made the costume and sold it to Roger Patterson. There's so many different players like John Green who was involved, Bob Titmus. The list goes on and on of people who, over the years, who were involved that claimed they either went to the film site and made castings or knew Roger. Or there's even a claim that that Roger had a fake Bob Gimlin go on tour with him for a short period of time to help promote the film. There's so many questions. There's so many different twists and turns for this film. I don't think we're ever going to really know if, in fact, that is somebody in a suit or the real deal.
Well, and again, this film, a little historical context, was filmed on October 20th of 1967 on Bluff Creek, which is out in California. And Roger Patterson is no longer with us, but Bob Gimlin is. And I know that he was silent on this for a long time, but that he has started, in the last, since the new millennium started, he's been a little bit more accessible to the media. But he's always denied that there was any kind of a hoax going on. Has he ever said outright, has he ever left the door open that maybe there was a hoax and maybe Patterson was behind it and he just, followed along with what was going on? What's his story been?
Well, I've known Bob for about 4 or 5 years. I got to know him personally. I've sat down with Bob across the table and had a 2-hour conversation with him. And my take on Bob is that he firmly believes that that was a real creature. He doesn't believe they were hoaxed. He doesn't believe that there was any kind of scam pulled over on him. Now, from what I understand and what Bob has explained to me is the morning of the film, Roger had disappeared for a short while while Bob was at camp, and then Roger had returned. Now, Bob doesn't know where he went, but Bob doesn't feel that he was hoaxed and that what he sees in the film was a real creature. He did pull up his .30-06, and he had it aimed on the creature in the event that the creature turned and charged at Roger as Roger ran towards it with the camera, but he never shot at the creature, and he was not going to shoot unless that creature turned and charged. And he felt that this was a real creature. That's his conversation with me, and that's, he seems very credible, and I found no reason to disbelieve him.
So just to clarify here, so that I'm following correctly, it was Bob that had the gun pointed at the creature?
Yes.
So if it was something that Roger had hoaxed unbeknownst to Bob, and he had gone and made plans for somebody to come by in an ape suit, he probably would have said something when the gun was pulled for fear that whoever is in that suit might get shot accidentally.
That's a very good possibility, yes. Because what Bob told me is he had that .30-06 pulled, and he had it ready to shoot in the event that that creature turned and came charging at Roger or Bob, as an aggressive animal, either a posturing or a defensive mechanism where it charged at them. And fortunately, it never did. It just, as you see in the film, it walked away very casually. But Bob said he was ready to pull that trigger if that thing turned and came at them.
So now this is probably the most famous clip of a Bigfoot sighting because of all the attention that it's received. I mean, it's been played on every, paranormally themed television show for years. And is this some of the more intriguing footage that you've seen over the years, or have you seen other pieces of footage that we might not have been privy to that is even more convincing?
Well, this is what many feel is the holy grail of Bigfoot video or film that's been taken. And in my opinion, it is probably the clearest footage that is out there. There is some other footage that have been taken over the years, like the Paul Freeman footage that shows maybe 3 seconds of a large upright bipedal creature walking from right to left on the screen from one pine tree across the front of several trees into another grove of small pine trees. That it's inconclusive, but it's a very clear video. And there's been others that have been very quick, 2-second of something, moving through the trees, and they're out there on YouTube. You can Google Bigfoot videos, you can find literally hundreds of them. But unfortunately, with this day and age of modern technology and software, movie equipment movie software that allows you to go in and create CGI and manipulate things like Photoshop, and it's so easy to create things and to make things look so real. I just count most of the things that are out there. I would say 95% of them that are out there I would probably write off as hoaxes or CGI or fabrications. And matter of fact, I don't even go look at YouTube anymore because there's just so much out there that I rule as nonsense.
See, I've always just felt that it's actually Kevin Peter Hall in the costume causing a hoax. But actually, his Bigfoot suit was a little bit more convincing.
Well, even today with the way that the special effects are in the films, they can make suits that are so detailed and so believable. I mean, look at Rick Dyer, who pulled off this latest hoax. His body in that glass case was done by a special effects artist out of Washington State. And there were a lot of people that were fooled by that thought that was a real Bigfoot. Now, me as a researcher and knowing Rick Dyer's history, I knew right off the bat that was fake. But there were a lot of people that paid good money to go see that and walked out of there thinking that was a real creature. So the ability to create such a almost a lifelike looking specimen is there. So we have to be very, very careful as to what we analyze and look at, and to be really, really cautious when we're dealing with films and even possible bodies.
As a person who has an interest in the unknown and the unusual, and I try to keep a level head about things, for me, it's going to take DNA evidence to be able to determine for sure that these creatures do exist. No photo, no video, none of that is going to convince me as well as a DNA sample, or, aside from seeing the creature right in front of my face and having it bang here on the window of the studio, that would probably be pretty convincing too.
We could probably arrange for that.
Probably. Moniz can tell you that they are around here.
Yeah, my mother, when she was 9 months pregnant with me, roughly about 4 miles up the road, 1967, in end of March, beginning of April in 1967, and that's before the Patterson-Gimlin film.
So they are in this area, but again, I would need to see some sort of conclusive DNA proof that they exist. And you would think that we'd be able to find something like that, even if we can't capture a live creature or have a one-on-one encounter with a living creature. They should leave something behind, but they don't seem to ever leave anything behind aside from prints and some hair samples that we end up determining is something else. And I know, Moniz, you probably investigated, some of the poop over the years. Just because you love to play in poop
but
anyway.
I know people that have done some of the analysis on some of the scat, that we'll call it.
I like to use the word poop.
Well, and what they found is that there are particular digestive, we'll call it microflora and fauna, that are specific to basically primates, that the DNA of these microbes do not match any known species of primate. So,
is that enough DNA for you?
It's DNA, but you don't have enough to, to sequence something like the animal itself.
Right.
Yeah.
But in Tim's own mind, is that enough DNA for him?
No, I'm talking. We need the full Bigfoot genome.
You do?
I think so. But Eric, what would you need to be convinced?
To be honest with you, I would probably need a body, live or dead specimen, and to be able to see an accredited university or a scientist, someone that I trust, and I could see their credentials and know that they put out the full results of what they were able to determine that body or live or dead specimen was. Not just taking someone's word for it and saying, oh, Dr. Smith from such and such university said this was an unknown primate. I want to see the paperwork. I want to see their credentials, because it's so easy to fake so much these days. You just don't know who to believe. And it's sad that it's come to that, but with the way these hoaxes are pulling things off these days, you have to cross your T's and dot your I's. You really have to be cautious.
Well, your eyes wind up crossed after looking some of this
They
stuff.
do, Matt. They do.
And how funny will it be if that proof finally does come from Rick Dyer? That would be the least expected source ever.
Yeah, the sample supplied by Biscardi.
Unfortunately, though, Eric, you're right. Things like that, they shed a bad light on some of the researchers, such as yourself, who do serious work and aren't just looking to get some attention or make a buck. And it's got to be harder than ever to get people to take what you do seriously, because you see it more as entertainment with shows that you see on TV than it is serious research for a lot of folks.
Yeah, it is harder for the serious researcher to do our job. We just got to keep pushing on and keep doing what we're doing and doing it objectively and keeping our integrity and not, taking shortcuts and bending to the entertainment side of things. I mean, yeah, it's great to try to get the word out there and try to get publicity as to what we're doing, but we have to be very careful about how we go about doing that. because there's so many people out there just trying to want to get on TV and trying to make a name for themselves, and they're doing it at the expense of trying to be objective and trying to really get to the bottom of this mystery.
Over the past year, I've made a lot of friends in a place called the Broad Institute. Are you familiar with it?
No.
All right, it's up in Cambridge in Tech Square. I worked right next to it and rode the train with many of the people that work there. They're the world's leading DNA sequencing laboratory. They're part of Harvard and MIT's stuff. So if you ever get any pieces of hair or whatever that you think maybe possibly contain actual DNA samples, let me know. I've got people more than willing to run them through their sequencer.
Oh, excellent. We'll definitely have to talk here in the very near future, because I do have some hairs that we have collected last summer that I've been trying to find someone to take a look at, first to do the microscopic testing on it to see if it does match any known animal that we have on file. That's the hardest part, is to come up with a match. And once we conclude that we can't match it, then of course to get the DNA testing done. So we do have some hairs that we have in safekeeping right now. So yeah, definitely we'd be very interested in trying to get somebody to take a look at them.
I'll do what I can for you.
Excellent.
All right. Well, thank you, Eric, for joining us, and definitely please keep doing what you do best. Let everybody know how they can find out more about you, how they can reach you, and how they can find Beyond the Edge Radio.
Well, they can get a hold of me a couple of ways through our group's website, pabigfootsociety.com, or the radio show that I do on Sunday nights, beyondtheedgeradio.com. Either way, they can get a hold of me, and on Facebook as well.
All right. Thank you so much, Eric Altman, for joining us, and we'll talk to you real soon.
Thanks, guys. Have a great night.
Take care. That is Eric Altman of the Pennsylvania Bigfoot Society. You can check him out. As he mentioned, you can listen to Beyond the Edge Radio. You can follow him on Facebook. He's on Twitter as well, and follow along with his work. Guys, I think that no matter what we do, no matter what we can do to that Patterson-Gimlin film and enhance it, and we could prove that that's a creature, but still, the fact of the matter remains that was filmed in 1967. So we're talking about something that's already decades old. We need something fresh. We need something that's of recent times to prove that these creatures are still out there. Moniz, I know that you've done a lot of work in the area for usually whenever anybody has a sighting, they'll talk to you, they'll let you know because of some of the work that you've done in the research of it. What's the frequency of reports that we're getting in this neck of the woods these days?
I actually got a report when I was in Middleborough with the Bridgewater Triangle. Well, it wasn't premiere, but one of the screenings. And a woman who is an environmental scientist who was friends with two young biology students encountered a tall, 8-foot, dark-haired creature walking down the street in Easton as they were coming home from one of the basketball games. So we've had recent reports from what I'll call credible witnesses as recently as a couple of months ago. Now we also have, the reports of the footprints that were found in the snow in the Bridgewater Triangle over the winter and stuff like that. Those are inconclusive but interesting. But the local reports usually are early spring and into the beginning of summer is when we get most of the reports around here. It's usually when the blueberries start blooming and the raspberries and stuff like that. After that, and after the fish are done spawning, then things tend to peter out towards fall.
They kind of go back into the deeper woods.
Yeah.
And I know, Stephanie, that you talk to a lot of people that are not in the paranormal field.
Right.
And so you probably have a different take from the people that wouldn't necessarily want to share some of these encounters.
Yes, I have. I mean, mainly myself. I know I do the whole medium thing and I do the ghost stuff, but it makes me really wonder. I mean, like aliens, Bigfoot, I'll listen to it, but I can't say for sure whether or not, I'm into that because I haven't experienced anything myself. But does it make anyone else wonder? Back in the 1960s, there's however long that video is of watching a creature walk by for a very long period of time when technology wasn't really prevalent. But now all of these reports that we have and the amount of cell phones and technology that we have now, why aren't there any clear videos?
Right.
How many clear videos do you see of a car accident? And those happen far more often than,
Plenty.
Yeah. I mean, all the
That's what I'm
news, all the
saying.
news stations. See, that's the thing is
Everybody
we're
catches
under
something.
we're under a different mandate now from society where it's not enough to just report something to somebody now. You have to get so if you're the news media, for example, and you need a news tip, you don't just want the news tip and send your people out to investigate it and follow it up. You need the people to send you everything. So we see people who are taking pictures at car accidents, which, is it really appropriate? Should somebody be stopping with their cell phone and snapping a picture of a car crash?
Nope, but they'll
They
do it
shouldn't, but they
anyways.
do. Exactly. They want to just get that credit and they want to have their stuff shown. They want to have their Twitter handle shown on
Yep.
on the Fox 25 News. So we do live in a different society. Now I'm like you a little bit in that regard, Moniz. I've got the camera in my pocket all the time. I don't always think to pull it out.
Yeah.
I'm having that experience, and I went over this with some people when we put up the story about what happened at Lizzie Borden's with the lights. People want to know why we didn't record it. We didn't think to.
Right.
We're too amused with what was happening.
But we're not automatically geared toward documenting every moment of our life through Instagram or Facebook.
But the majority of society is.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody, I'll never understand why people put their whole entire lives on social media.
Right.
But the amount of videos, pictures, everything that I see people really shouldn't be, filming. Like the video I sent you last week of the people recording a 911 call as they were showing up to the house. Why record that? What's the point? But people love to video record. So if you see a gigantic creature walking past you for a large amount of time and you have a cell phone, why don't record it?
Well, it's kind of like what Tim and I were experiencing at Lizzie's. It was something that is not out of the normal, everyday run
Right,
of the
but
mill
you
life.
guys come from a different generation as well.
Yeah.
But that's also part of the difference too. Is those who are walking around in the woods with their cameras out and ready are probably not going to have that encounter because they're running around with their cameras out in the woods, yelling, "Hey, Bigfoot, come over here!"
Right.
You know, I guess it's the same thing that you can say about a lot of the paranormal activity that we encounter. When you're not looking for it, that's when it happens, and you don't have the time to react. So, and who knows? We don't know how.
Well, we really could have recorded the lights going on and off. We just didn't.
And we didn't think that it was going to keep going either.
Yeah.
Like we were surprised that it kept going as long as it did. But I can't imagine Bigfoot's out there. I mean, they might be a little bit more savvy than we think we are, and they're not out there being like, "Let me take a selfie." So. All right. We do have to switch gears a little bit here now because joining us on the line we have from RISEUP Paranormal, the one and only Ken DeCosta. How are you, sir?
Hello, Tim, Steph, Matt. How are we doing?
Fine.
We are spooktacular. How are you tonight, sir?
I'm doing excellent.
Is it a rare Saturday night off, or are we pulling you away from an investigation?
No, we have a rare Saturday night off. It's in the employee manual. We have to give them the 4th of July off and the week before to prepare for the 4th of July.
See, there you go. Yeah, you gotta have some time off. You gotta enjoy your summer. And I know that the planning is in full gear here for the 2014 Ocean State ParaCon. It's happening July 19th and 20th, and it just seems like it's getting bigger and better every year.
Yeah, I mean, we're doing something a little unique this year, and this is our 3rd annual event, and this year it will benefit the Autism Society of Rhode Island, and all proceeds are earmarked to that charity. We decided to do something a little bit different this year and expand it into a full 2-day event because it has grown, and it's going to be unique in the regard that it's going to be an indoor-outdoor event. So our vendors, the people that are joining us, are going to be outside on the beautiful grounds of the Assembly Theater in Harrisville, which is situated on the edge of a lake, and it's a really beautiful setting, and we have access for our speakers to a 1930s era 300-seat theater. So
wow.
We're pretty excited about it, and we're very much looking forward to it.
And the guest list is incredible, and you keep adding to it, too. I noticed that you had some new additions announced this week, but of course the event is headlined by John Zaffis of Haunted Collector, and anybody who follows the paranormal, they know John Zaffis' work, and Andrea Perrin, who of course was the person who lived through The Conjuring, and she also wrote about it in House of Darkness, House of Light. But you've got a bunch of people who are coming. I mean, it's kind of a who's who of paranormal celebrities here.
Yeah, and the incredible thing about it is each and every one of these people is donating their time to the event. And for the general public, come on down. We're going to go from noon to 7 p.m., and it's only $5 to get in. And it follows our mission to keep a very affordable event because these people are donating their time. And, we want to make it as affordable to get everybody in there as possible. And as I say, everything is channeled toward the charity. So it's a wonderful event, and we'd like to continue to grow it, but we're going to have to rely on the public to help us out. So I want to invite all of your listeners to join us. But in this event, we'll also have people like, I don't want to miss anybody here. I mean, Joe Chin will be there from Ghost Hunters, Carl and Keith Johnson, Tom D'Agostino, Mike Markowitz, Tiffany Rice, Andrew Lake. Maybe you've heard of Andrew. He's going to be there. Shannon Sylvia, of course, from Ghost Hunters International. Christopher Rondina, George Lopez from Dead Air Paranormal Radio, John Tobin, Chris De Cesare, who I'm looking forward to having there. I met Chris up in New York, and he's the basis of an independent film called Please Talk to Me that was based on his experiences as a freshman at SUNY Geneseo back in the 80s. So, yeah, we're really excited about the lineup of guests we have that are going to be speaking, and come on down and learn something from these people. It really is phenomenal.
And it's 12 to 7 each day, and it's a $5 admission for each day.
There you go.
And you can't beat that. I mean, you're essentially getting 7 hours of entertainment for only $5. You can't even go see a 2-hour movie for that much money. When you went to go see The Conjuring in the theaters, you paid twice that. And here you can meet the person who lived through it. You can meet people who are having experiences and being on investigations pretty much every weekend. And it's costing you less than it costs you to go out and rent an on-demand film.
Absolutely, and the opportunity to talk to some of these people in a very, very relaxed setting, I think is something that's going to be appealing to people as well. And as I say, it's going to be kind of unique. It's almost like a paranormal farmer's market in a way, where everybody is going to be under their tents. And, it's going to be a really relaxed setting, and just hoping for a beautiful New England summer weekend, and that'll be wonderful. The other thing, too, is that we're kind of, in terms of The Conjuring, we have a lot of people there that are associated with the happenings there. First of all, it's taking place in Harrisville, which was the background of the movie, and Carl and Keith Johnson, John Zaffis, of course, Andrea, naturally, and myself really have all visited the house. So at some point, we're probably all going to get together during the weekend and do a little Q&A and a little presentation on our experiences there. So I think it'll be interesting.
And I know that I just want to put this out there too, because Norma has been in contact with me over the last couple of months, supplying me with the information that she's finding through her research. And so I feel like we should also mention, even though it's going to be taking place in Harrisville, we don't want people to try to go to the house. We don't want people to bother the Sutcliffes. Leave them alone. They don't want any kind of recognition. They don't want any kind of attention. So anybody who is planning on coming to this event, don't be thinking about making a side trip to the farmhouse.
No, and that's extremely important, because one of the things that we've done is absolutely, beyond mentioning the obvious, we are, definitely downplaying that angle of it. This is an opportunity really to make a statement, to make a bigger statement, because we're all getting together. And this could be anywhere. It could be Providence, Rhode Island. It could be New Bedford, Massachusetts. At this particular point in time, we were able to secure this location, and you'll see why when you come down. It's a lovely location, but we have an opportunity to make a statement in this field, and everybody who's involved, and even the casually curious, to rise above what those people have had to endure, and grant them their peace, go about this, have a wonderful time for a great cause, and do it the way it's intended to be done, and do the right thing.
And the key, of course, is even though you get the chance to go and meet these folks and learn, Maybe you're somebody who's been in the paranormal field for a long time and you just want to compare notes with some of these investigators who are going to be there and some of these researchers. Or maybe you're somebody who is new to it and you just want to find out more. Or maybe you're somebody who's just a fan and never has actually wanted to have an experience, but you want to meet those who have. It's a great event for that. But the key is that the money goes to helping the Autism Society of Rhode Island. And I'm sure that you've probably already been in contact with some of the folks who will benefit from the monies that are being raised.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And one of the reasons that this year we chose that charity is because, as it is with muscular dystrophy last year, this is something that touches a lot of families. And since we made that decision that the Autism Society would be the beneficiary, it's been amazing how many people have reached out that that I've known for years, but didn't know about their family situations, who have said that it's something that's affected them as well. So it's been gratifying that we're going to be able to do just a small part to try to help these folks, and this is why we chose to do it on a local level as well, because a lot of times when you do it for a national foundation, although it's all going to a good cause, we're never really sure what the local community will see in terms of the percentage of the monies that are donated. So this is why we wanted to earmark it to the local branch to make sure that it gets in the hands of people that we know, our friends and neighbors, and that's extremely important to us.
Now, sometimes with these larger charities, the money that you raise is just going toward, a director's salary more than it is to helping somebody directly.
Exactly right. So, we're going to be able to do this with really good intentions, and it's important to us, like I say, because it reaches people that we know. It reaches our neighbors, and Rhode Island being a small state, of course, you don't know what kind of percentage of any funding that they get. So this is an opportunity to do something a little bit bigger, if you will, for the local community.
And one thing that's an interesting connection, and I know that I've talked about it privately with Moniz in the past, I've talked about it with Stephanie in the past, is those who are afflicted with autism, they seem to have a different wavelength into the paranormal than some folks have, and they seem to experience things that the rest of us might not. So there's definitely a connection between the paranormal community and those who are afflicted with autism. You hear a lot of times of people taking on cases in which there is an autistic person involved.
Absolutely. I mean, we have in our past, too, on multiple occasions where we've had an opportunity to actually sit and talk to some of those people and hear their stories as well. And it's something that when they've had an experience, they're very lucid and very vivid in terms of what that experience is. And frankly, I've been blown away by the validity of a lot of those claims as we've gone forward.
So again, it's the Ocean State ParaCon. It's happening July 19th and 20th from 12 to 7 each day at the Assembly Theater in Harrisville, Rhode Island. Admission is only $5, and all proceeds benefit the Autism Society of Rhode Island. Ken, again, people can go to the Facebook page for updates and for more information.
Yeah, you can just punch up 2014 Ocean State ParaCon on Facebook, or you can go to our website, RISEUPParanormal.com, and all the information is there that you need. And if you need to contact us for any reason with any kind of questions, all our contact information is there as well.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Ken DeCosta, for joining us, and good luck with the event. We look forward to seeing you.
That's excellent. Thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity.
And enjoy your couple of rare weekends off.
I will do that.
Take care.
You too.
Bye-bye. That is the one and only Ken DeCosta. He is just a great guy to hang out with and a heck of an investigator as well. And he likes to downplay a lot of the stuff that he does behind the scenes. But really, if you get the chance to go and you get to hear him speak, you'll be blown away by some of the information that he can provide as well. I remember seeing him speak for the first time at the Southcoast Paranormal and Psychic Fair, and he did a presentation on cryptid creatures. I was just like, whoa, how have we not had you on the show yet? So And we still really have yet to bring him in for a full show discussing some of the other things. We had him on to talk about if the paranormal was a religion, and it's still one of our most downloaded and most controversial shows. So you can check that out in the archives as well. But the Ocean State ParaCon, always a great time. Matt Costa, I know that you've gone down to it in the past.
Yep.
And I know that you've always had a good time.
Yeah. The time that we went, I think Stephanie and I.
Yep,
right?
I've been to the first two.
Yeah, it was a good turnout. There was a lot of good people there.
And Stephanie, when you're there, you are there under your work as a
Right.
as a spirit medium, and people are coming up to you and talking about those type of those questions regarding that work.
Mhm.
But being there as a paranormal investigator, it must be great too to hear a lot of the different approaches and the different techniques from the people that are there.
It is. I think a lot of people get carried away with the whole psychic medium thing, so I end up with a lot of questions with that,
Sure,
and not
yeah.
usually the whole paranormal investigator thing. My days of hiding in the closet as just a paranormal investigator are pretty much over. So
And that's the great thing about this is as these Ocean State Paracons have gotten bigger and better, and the same thing happens with Paranormal for Paws
Mhm.
here in Massachusetts, is we're a small community around here, and we know each other, and we work with each other, and we all work well together, and we're familiar with one another. But as these events grow and more people are coming in from outside, we have the opportunity to kind of learn and to discover new ideas and new
Right.
theories and new concepts from people coming from other areas. So it should be a really great time. We do have a phone call on the line, and if you would like to call in, 508-996-0500, 877-996-1420. Good evening, you're on Spooky South Coast.
Hi, Tim. It's Keith. How
Hey,
you
Keith,
doing?
how's it going?
Good. I had to call in and comment, applaud you on the subject matter. You're just talking about Ocean State ParaCon and what a wonderful charity Ken is doing.
And of course, you will be there along with your wife Sandra and your brother Carl, and
Oh, yeah.
so many great friends and colleagues from the area.
Yeah, we definitely will be, and we're looking forward to that for months. And as you know, Sandra and I have a son who is afflicted with autism, and struggles every day to try to fit in the world around him. So it's a charity that's very close to our heart. So I urge everybody to come down to Ocean State ParaCon and meet us all and join in the festivities, and it'd be a great learning experience. And it's a wonderful thing that Ken's doing, and so very, very positive vibes about this. Can't emphasize that enough, obviously.
Well, and one of the important things is people can come and they can learn a little bit more about autism, because we hear about so many folks who have it, but we don't. Still to this day, there's a lot of people who don't have an understanding of what it's all about.
I can feel
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. And this promotes awareness and understanding. So that's a very positive thing to get the word out there.
Sorry,
I was going to say, my daughter, who's now turned 30, I've had to deal with her autism since she was diagnosed at 3 years old. They're very loving kids, but to truly understand it, you have to live with them and you have to work with them regularly to get a grip on it.
I used to teach preschool classes, and I would take on the autistic kids because that's what was close to my heart, that I wanted to give the extra attention. And they're amazing children, and I've tried to educate people for years on properly dealing with things and understanding that they're real people, and there's
They have
nothing
unique
wrong.
ways of looking at
Right.
things. Very
And
unique.
if you can learn a lot from a child, never mind a child with autism. They look at the world differently, that's all. And it's amazing.
Well, Keith, what do you have planned for the Ocean State Paracon? Are you going to be giving a talk on anything specific, or just hanging out, or?
Oh, Sandra and I will be talking about demonology.
Excellent.
We'll be giving a class on that. And but anybody who wants to discuss any topic, and including obviously autism, we're open to that as well. And we're looking forward to meeting people. And Carl's giving a lecture too, and on strange phenomena. So we've all got something lined up, and we're all looking forward to meeting everybody and reuniting with close friends and making some new ones as well.
Excellent. And of course, we'll also put in a little plug here as well. Ghosts Are Near. It does broadcast on Spooky TV at SpookySouthcoast.com. And when can people catch the live episodes each week?
People can catch them statewide on Fridays. Statewide on Fridays throughout the Rhode Island region at 8 p.m. And that's statewide interconnect. And you can always go to YouTube and see our shows as well. And of course on your great broadcasting system as well. So we're out there.
Monday nights, Matt, on Spooky TV?
It's Wednesday nights.
Wednesday nights. See,
Yeah.
I have been keeping up with my Spooky TV. And, of course, everybody can go to ghostsarnear.com to find out more about Keith's work.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry. So, Keith, thank you for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you at the ParaCon.
We look forward to seeing you then, guys. Have a great night. Great talking with you.
Take care. And we do have another phone call on the line. The phones are lit up tonight. 508-996-0500, 877-996-1420. Good evening. You're on Spooky South Coast.
Yes, good evening, Tim. It's been a while. Hello, Stephanie. A little over a year ago, I called in and I told you guys that I'd moved into an apartment where a friend of mine had passed away.
Mm-hmm.
And I moved out about a month ago to a bigger place because I went there first floor because it was for physical reasons, my legs and health. And last Wednesday night into Thursday, I was very restless in my sleep. And when I finally got to sleep, it was probably like 4 o'clock in the morning. And when I woke up at 7 in the morning, I had a dream that individual was arguing with females, but the voices weren't clear to me who they were.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess I overslept. And later that day, I talked to a resident at the building, and 2 females were arguing about a piece of furniture that I had left there that was his, that we used for porch furniture. And they were arguing about it, and then one of them was throwing it off the porch, and it broke. And I couldn't believe it. First thing I thought about was, like, I was restless last night. I have a dream about him and females arguing, but I couldn't recognize their voices. And later in the day, I found that. And I'll tell you, last Thursday was a rough day for me. Like, it's like all kind of stupid things are happening around me. And people some people call that coincidence and all that. I didn't know there was any turmoil there. I didn't know anything at all. I hadn't been there in a while.
Sure.
And it was a real rough day. But I automatically thought about when I called you guys last year when I was kind of having a hard time, and you guys had really kind of like made some sense of leveling me out. But I remember what you had said to me last year. And by Friday, I woke up and I ended up having a pretty good weekend. But it was just so strange.
I mean, Stephanie, that's probably your area more than it is ours. I mean, it's not like it's a premonition. It's because it's happening kind of simultaneously.
You can get sneak peeks into quick little things like that because we're in a dreaming state. We are in that in between, so you can get quick little. Just kind of like I used to when I was younger and I was trying to block my gift. I would have weird dreams of. I remember having one of like different, like the tricolor noodles, like the pasta.
Sure, yeah.
And I'd never eaten that before because it's funny colors, and I was younger, and I would never touch anything like that. I was a very picky eater.
You still won't.
I know, I'm terrible, but I went to a friend's house, and that's what I ended up eating, and I was kind of freaked out by it, and I had immediate deja vu. So things like that do happen where you're gonna get a glimpse of the next day. But as far as like turmoil and having a really crappy day, Mercury is still in retrograde. Mercury is the planet of communication, so pretty much.
And I'm a Gemini, and my birthday was last month.
Right. So, it's kind of a tough time to get any type of proper communication going through. Crappy things are going to happen left and right to people, but good news is it's going back direct on July 2nd. So.
Could it also be?
Next Wednesday.
Yes.
Yeah, come on.
There you go. So
we're all waiting.
Could it also be though that because a piece of him might have been left behind in that previous location, that maybe that allowed him to still have a connection to it?
Yes, but I'm not really getting the feeling like he had any particular attachment to that piece of furniture. He would even be upset by it. So if you were thinking that, I don't really get the feeling that he was. I think just because you associate him with that piece of furniture, because we all do, we're human and we do things like that, it could be a part of your subconscious that was feeling a little guilty about it as well.
Yeah, because I had done a lot of work and restored the furniture itself.
Right.
That piece, and it was just like, wow. But thanks a lot, and it's always a pleasure to listen to you guys.
Well, thank you so much.
Have you guys been over to the Morgan yet?
No, we haven't yet.
really
I guess there
want
was some big lines over there, but
yeah, Phil did a hell of a job this morning covering me.
He did a great job, and there were some rumors going around that maybe we could pull off an investigation while it was here, but I don't know. They've got it under heavy guard. So.
Oh yeah, Homeland Security was all over the place.
Oh, I can imagine. All right. Well, thank you so much for the call.
Thanks for taking my call, guys.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
And speaking of callers, Moniz, I should mention this because it's been coming up again and again on the Saturday morning show. And I'm asking you this now when we have 3 minutes left. But this person keeps asking me about it, and I keep forgetting to mention to you. This gentleman calls every week, and he wants to know if we can get Bob Lazar.
I can ask him, but he rarely does.
Rarely
does.
This person has been hearing rumors that Bob Lazar is actually dead. And I haven't seen anything to the I've seen anything that suggests that yet, but he's been hearing these rumors. So he is still with us, and you have been in communication with him, I know, over the years. Yeah. So we can at least make an attempt and see what can happen. And the worst he can say is no, or ignore us completely.
But at least you'll have an answer for him.
Right. So, but I've just been forgetting to do it, so I want to do it now and mention that now. So we'll see if maybe we can pull something off. But again, he's been radio silent now for quite a while.
Yeah, he's done a handful of things over the years. I'm friends with George Knapp too, so George knows him better. I'll ask George to ask him again, or I'll ask him directly, and I'll have George prod him.
I think George is the only one that he has spoken with over the last decade or so, or at least the last 5 years, because that's probably about the time that I started becoming interested in trying to get him on. So we'll see. Well, that's all we can do. We can only try, but we will try. And we will be back next week as well. We'll be talking about a variety of different topics. I don't even know what we're going to have on next week. There's so many things in flux of shows that we're trying to book. One show that we definitely want to work on is we're going to have Jeff Mudgett on to talk about H.H. Holmes. He's going to be joining us sometime soon. We're going to have Mark Anthony, the psychic lawyer, coming up in August. I know, Matt, you have been working on some things as well for July. So we'll certainly have a bunch of shows coming up for the rest of the summer, and we're going to make sure that you are thoroughly entertained and informed about all things paranormal. Especially, Halloween season is right around the corner, and that's when all this stuff really starts to happen.
I can't wait. I was just saying I can't wait for little pumpkins and apple cider and candy apples and
it's finally getting hot and humid, and all we can think about is autumn.
That's all I think about. It's my favorite time of the year.
Mine
Absolute
too.
Favorite.
And not just for paranormal reasons either. I just
love
like it better.
I love it.
The beach, keep the beach. Give me a haunted hayride any day.
You're probably gonna lose me around Halloween though.
Yeah, we probably will. You'll be a little bit. You'll be otherwise occupied. But that's all right.
Or unoccupied.
That's true.
Mm.
Always occupied. We knew that. We knew that going in though. So, and no, that's all right because usually we check out around Halloween too.
Right. So it's a good time.
Mentally. We'll still be here physically. You'll still hear the sound of our voice. We just won't make any sense after the Halloween season. All right, well, that does it for this week's show. If you want to get in touch with us at any point during the course of the week, spookykcrew@spookysouthcoast.com. That's the way to do it. You can also find us on Twitter @SpookySC. We check it frequently, and I know that a lot of people just kind of mention us and things and forward us things. That's cool. Definitely always do that. We appreciate that. We're trying to be a little bit more interactive, but we're also technologically dumb. So until next week, we want you all to stay spooktacular.